Wow, look at that. It just works. That's wacky. Are we just live? Is that all I have to do? Yeah. Wow. Hi, I can hear myself with like a 10-second delay. Okay, well, that's interesting. Um, the background noise is probably horrendous because the door's open, but the problem with closing the door is that it's really, really hot out there, and I will cook. I will be microwaving myself. So, you don't have to watch. It's okay if the noise is unbearable. I don't blame you. It probably is unbearable, and it's all good. Um, Now, okay. So I'm doing this mostly for my own sake. I said in my thing I recorded, which will go out in the next 3 days, I'm mostly doing this to up the stakes to the maximum level so that when I try to ID my wasps, I really have to learn it, because if I get it wrong, I'm going to lose my Nuzlocke, and I'm going to lose in front of the camera. So it's going to go, it's, oh my god, like, I can't get it wrong, I gotta learn these wasps. Um, I'll try not to give myself a panic attack by adding on too many compounding pressures. But we'll just try it, and maybe it'll work, and maybe I'll be like, that's too much effort, and then never do this again. But let's test all of the different setup things. So we've got my camera that's working, I think. We've got my microphone. I could hear myself. I've got OBS, and then I've got the game. So, and we've got Hymenoptera, the starter Chikorita, with a plus special attack minus speed nature, which is fine. And 31, you get 3 31s in a Pokemon in Inclement Emerald, which is what we're playing. And I got them in all 3 bulk stats, which is pretty good. And I can change the nature later if I want a minus attack nature. I've only got physical moves, so my plus special attack's not doing anything right now, but that's okay. And yeah, I can run around. I'm going to go to a new route soon. That's good. Okay. Next, the traps. So, this screen connects to this over here for me, and this is a representation of all of the wasps at one of my trap sites. So here's a photo of the trap site. This is a SLAM trap, sea, land, and air malaise, that we've hung up, and you can see it's like a net with 4 kind of sides, and the bugs will fly in here and get trapped up here at the top and die, and you'll catch them. And you can hang it, you can put it in the sea. It's sea, land, and air malaise because it was invented by a guy named Malaise, and you can float it on a river, you can put it on the ground, or you can hang it from a tree. So it's like useful in all kinds of different places. And around the trap, we've put 8 yellow pan traps. You can kind of just barely see one down here. It's a little yellow tub, and it's got, in this case, glycol, like antifreeze, which is a preservative. And the wasps will fly in and die in the preservative, and then we'll collect them. So we have 8 pan traps around each slam trap. They're at the cardinal directions, north, west, east, and south, and then there's a left and right version. So you'd have like one here, one here, one here, one here, one over there, and then one here and one here. I don't know which way the compass is in this photo, but that's probably like something left that you can see. So, and then I've been IDing them, and I've reached a point where I've done, I'm not going like, I'm just picking a random bag and going. So I've done 53 of the 80 traps, because there are 10 sites, and each site has 8 traps. So, I've done 53, but in 2A, site in 2A, is the first site where I've done all 8 traps. So I have found every wasp from site in 2A, which is what this is a picture of. And I have this many. So from the north right trap I got 17. North left had my most wasps at, is that 29? That's on the other screen and far away. We're going to say it's 29. This has 15, 17. Only 5 in east right, 7 in south left. So, yeah, there was something of a range, but in the kind of low 10s average. And I've got photos of all of them under a microscope, so they're relatively high definition. The quality is going to vary. Some of them are pretty bad photos because I was rushing through because there's so many wasps to assess, but some of them are okay. And our job is to identify them. The way this ties back into Pokemon, I know this sounds insane, is we have a game of Inclement Emerald, and whenever we get a wasp, we have to ID it to a taxonomic rank. So you start off really high up. Like, we're not going to start at the top, but it goes like, are you a animal or a plant? And then, are you a mammal or are you a bug or whatever? And then within the bugs, you have all the different bugs. And we are looking at just the hymenoptera. So that's the wasps and the bees and the ants and the things that are closely related to wasps, bees, and ants. Now, there are some hymenoptera that don't look much like wasps, bees, or ants. I can show you. Oh, that's a beedrill, but that's good. That's an example of a apoid wasp, a bee. But we're not interested in that. What we're interested in is sawflies. Sawflies. So, here are some pictures of sawflies. These are wasp-like creatures. Well, they're hymenopterans, so if we find one they count, we can use them for the Nuzlocke. But they don't have the constricted waist. So if you look at, like, beedrill here, beedrill's not a very good example. If you look at a bee, I don't know why I thought beedrill would be a good example. If you look at a bee, that's not a bad photo. You can see that they have the head, and then they have the thorax. Well, it's actually the mesosoma, but we'll call it the thorax for simplicity's sake. And then they have the abdomen, which is this bit at the back. And in a bee, usually you have this constriction here between the thorax and the abdomen, where they have like a really thin joiner. It'll be more obvious in an ant, probably. Yeah, like this. If we look at an ant, you see they've got this really thin constricted part of their body. And that's typical of the hymenoptera. But sawflies don't have it. It's the group within the hymenoptera that do have it are called the apocrita. And most of the wasps that you'll be familiar with are apocrita wasps. But there are also the symphyta, these guys. And they are very, very ancient. So they diverged from the apocrita millions and millions of years ago. And they don't have the constricted waists. So they have similar heads and bodies, but they've got these massive, big abdomens, and they look like this. It's like, it almost looks like a wasp, but it kind of looks like a fly. You know, it's got the head of a wasp, but the back of a fly. And, yeah. So we might find some of those, although I don't think we've got any of them. Anyway, that's where we're starting. So we're starting with the hymenoptera. And it will come as no surprise then that our starter Pokemon is named Hymenoptera. That's an easy first taxonomic rank that we can grab. Now I've got Pokemon Showdown here, so we can look at stats if we need to. We can look at Chikorita's really lovely base stats. It is an interesting Pokemon, of course, because it's a baby Pokemon. It's a basic Pokemon. But it's bulky, right? 65, 65, 45 is, you know, you're bulky, right? I mean, you're bulky compared to, say, a Chimchar. With those 44, 44, 44. We're bulkier than a Chimchar. But there isn't much that's less bulky than a Chimchar. So I'm not sure how happy we should be about that. Anyway, we've got a bit of bulk, and we're playing a ROM hack that has changed quite a few Pokemon. So you'll notice, if I come back to this screen, that we have Flower Veil. We don't have Overgrow, or even Leaf Guard, the hidden ability. We've got Flower Veil. And Flower Veil is an interesting ability that is kind of crazy on a grass type. Flower Veil. So it's Flabebe's thing. And what it does is it makes your allied grass types immune to status and stat lowering. So it's kind of like budget good as gold. It's not as good as gold, Oh, yeah, it's kind of like Garganacle's ability. What's that called? Purifying Salt. But you don't get a ghost resistance, but you get clear body as well. It's good. It's good. Usually, of course, it's stuck on a fairy type that isn't a grass type. And so you have to use it in doubles. It's probably why Flabebe isn't a grass type when it seems like it really should be, because it's holding a flower. But maybe it would be too good. Although I don't think it would be too good. Because Florges isn't that great, even with the massive BST. So, we've got Flower Veil, and that's good. That's a massive buff to Chikorita already. And if we look at the docks over here, we can see that we also can get Triage as a hidden ability. And there is an ability capsule, I know where it is. It's in Rustboro. And if we get that, we can switch to Triage. I'm not sure which one I want. They're both really good. Triage obviously gives you priority on Giga Drain, which is nice, and Leech Seed and Synthesis. It's a nice move for a Nuzlocke. But Flower Veil seems great. Flower Veil not being able to be poisoned seems really nice. We'll see. We'll see how the game develops. Maybe I'll just lose instantly and then switch to a new starter Pokemon. If by some freak of luck we make it to Meganium to evolve to Chikorita, then we're about to teach it a bunch of new TMs. It gets basically Fairy TMs and Earth Power, but Earth Power is great coverage. And it gets a buff of 9 base special attack. But that's fairly significant, because Meganium stats are, like, almost good. I mean, you know, it's like the most generic... Hang on, let me pull it up. Here's Meganium. It's like the most generic stat. It's got 100 in both defenses and then 80s and everything else. Wow, Meganium, you're such an exciting Pokemon. But, you know, we're pumping its special attack up to 90, so now it's going to be truly insane with these stats. It's like Mew, but worse in every regard. I guess it's like Shaman. But literally just worse. That's a sad comparison, isn't it? Oh, poor Meganium. Yeah, Meganium, and if this was a video, I would edit out that starter. But no, I can't do that, can I? I don't even know if the stream's working. I'm not checking the chat, because it scares me a bit. This might be going nowhere, but it says it's running. So it'll go into my channel probably. We'll see. Anyway, Meganium and Shaman are similar, but Meganium is worse. But with the changes in Inclement Emerald, it's a fairy type now, so it has a niche. Grass Fairy is interesting. I don't relish the idea of being quadruple weak to poison in a Nuzlocke when I don't know what moves the enemies will have. There are docks for this, like that have every trainer's sets and Pokemon, but I'm not going to use them. We're only going to use the information I can find from this dock here, with the stat changes, and the damage calculator, if we need it, and also the game itself. So I think that's all the different things I am able to bring up on screen. 1, 2, 3. Switch that back to the damage calc. 3, 4. Okay, so we're good for now. What we'll do is go catch a Pokemon. We'll get through this early game bit. Go catch a Pokemon and see if the format even works. Because this all might all be for nothing if the format is just like ridiculous and unsustainable. Do we have Pokeballs? No, we don't, right? We've got 10 potions. Okay, now forgive me if this is slow. I guess that's streaming, right? Like, it's a bit more chill. Like, I don't have to be constantly engaged. But you want to be engaged, you know. You want to be talking. I guess that's why you talk to chat. But I'm gonna not think about chat, because the idea of streaming kind of freaks me out. The idea of like being here while other people can see. It feels different. I don't know. I'm not one to get like particularly anxious in front of crowds. Like, I love doing speeches. I loved doing speeches in school. I love doing speeches to this day. Ha, I've got Flower Veil. Take that, Wingull. But I don't like reading messages. It's reading messages that's the problem. Like, I can do fine with a live audience of, like, people I can see. But when it's... Oh, do I want to... How does this work? Because trainers scale to your... I guess the Nuzlocke hasn't started yet, because I haven't got Pokeballs. Poison Powder's good. The trainers scale to the level of your team in this thing. So there's no, like, point in overgrinding. But their movesets don't. So I suppose I should... Oh, Pokeball, that's good. I suppose I should level up to give Chikorita moves. It does get screens pretty early, which I appreciate. Well, we'll see what happens. We've got potions, but we're not allowed to use them because we're doing, like, hardcore Nuzlocke rules. So I'll sell those. There's a few things in Inclement Emerald that are, like, quality of life features. So the first is this item, the Pokevial, which is a potent medicine that fully restores all Pokemon. It's just like a mobile Pokemon Center. It's one use, so you can use it once, then you have to go back to the Pokemon Center to refill it. But it's nice. It cuts in half the amount of times you have to go back to heal, which can be quite a lot in this game because trainers are kind of scary. Oh, we've got 25,000 gold. That's kind of nice. I'm going to sell these potions. We're not allowed to use them. Oh, good. Oh, good. There's no one here. Okay, I've been brave and pulled up chat. How am I gonna... like that? Will that work? No. I should do it like this. Yes. Well, the fact that there's no one here is great. That's relaxing. I can just chill. I don't have to worry about, like, talking constantly. That's nice. Okay. I guess I'll keep an eye on this, because if I stop looking at it, I'm gonna get freaked out when I know I'm on camera. Okay, so yeah, Pokevial is good. I guess I'm speaking to, like, the YouTube audience if anyone watches this, but I wonder if I can edit it through YouTube. That's gotta be possible, right? Yeah, so we have some other things. We've got the move relearner. It's all, and then there's tutor moves, which will unlock as we beat gyms, if we beat gyms. But we may just die instead. We can go in here. Can we buy Pokeballs? Not yet. Red card. Red card is interesting. Veterinary mental herb. Those items are potentially useful. We want to make sure we're using every possible tool at our disposal in this game. I'm going to be pretty boring and, like, fully clear everything. Shinx. Got Flower Veil, sorry buddy. Got Flower Veil. I know, it's rough. Okay. So, hopefully we can beat May with her Torchic, but maybe we can't. Poison it. I reckon we can. Bonk. Bonk. And you gotta remember that we don't have Overgrow. Well, I never remember that I do have Overgrow, so remembering that I don't have it's not gonna be too hard. That's my default state, not having Overgrow. Here we have Chikorita gaining some power. And we've done it. Okay. We can heal with what? Can I register this? select. Fantasy. That's great. And now we can go try out the Wasp. The Wasp science. Hi, hello. Yes, I would like my thingy. Thank you, May. I will cherish those. And then I will get some running shoes. The power of science is staggering. Oh, an old rod. Okay. So we can get water types instead of non-water types if we need a water type. A water type would be preferable. Okay, but this is the moment we've all been waiting for. And by we, I mean me. Yeah, just me, which is good. The more people there are here, the more... Well, that's not true. The worst number of people to have in a stream is like 2. Because once you have like 100, it's just like a number, right? And chats kind of move in. You don't have to think of them as like individuals. But when there's like 1 or 2 people, it's like when you have a... Did you ever... If you... I don't know how many of you have had this experience, but sometimes you'll be in a uni class and there'll be like 20 people in your stream or your lecture or whatever, and there'll be like an optional tutorial, and the tutors are always like, no one ever comes to the tutorials and they pay me to be there, so like someone should come along, we'll have some fun. And you're there thinking, if no one else comes and it's just me in the tutorial, it's going to be so awkward. Like I would happily go to a tutorial if there were 10 other people there, but if it's just me and the tutor, like that's a level of social isolation that I'm totally uncomfortable with. In a similar sense, if I have just one viewer, and this is like a friend of mine, like Jonathan, I'm in like serious danger of awkwardness, because then it's just like, hi, how are you, fellow human? You don't know me, and I'm doing something really weird, really esoteric, which is combining wasps and Pokemon. But it's okay. I digress. Let's see what our first Pokemon is. Ta-da! It's a Zorua. That's exciting. I like Zorua. Now, Nuzlocke rules apply, so we can only catch the first Pokemon we see. If we fail to catch it, tough luck. I'm just going to chuck a ball. 1. Okay, we should hit it. You can't lair me, fool. Don't crit. That's good. So this is Emerald, but it's a ROM hack. It's updated with most modern gen mechanics, so crits are only 1.5 times damage, which is great, because the 2 times crits in early gens, and the boosted crit rate, make early gen Nuzlocke so much more stressful. Playing a Gen 6 Nuzlocke is like so chill, because everything's all nice and balanced. It's really, really hard to get one-shot or to randomly one-shot something. This is like chill in that sense, but also it's much harder than a usual Nuzlocke experience. Okay, so we do want to give Zoro a nickname, but we're going to have to turn to the traps. So here we are, and let me just grab a random photo from the pool. Have I not downloaded them? Whoops. One moment. Download. Okay. Well, we've got our first technical difficulty. I don't actually have the photos available yet, so we can just relax and talk about our lives. What do you guys do? Like, what compels you guys to watch a YouTube video about wasps and Pokemon? I figure that if there's someone else out there in the world who's really into both parasitoid wasps and Pokemon, well, and they don't find me highly annoying, which is possible, or like they don't have like a blood debt, a blood vengeance pact. They don't have like a some reason to despise me and my family line, which is plausible. I don't know if there are any people who despise me and my family line due to some historical mistreatment. However, it's probably about as likely that that person does exist as it is that there's someone who is really into both parasitoid wasps and Pokemon. Well, no, that's not true. Because entomology and Pokemon are like kind of the same thing, right? Like you might say I'm an entomologist because I like Pokemon. Or I like Pokemon because I'm an entomologist. There's a if and only if. A bi-directional causation or something. Where, you know, there's something about collecting animals that just compels me, I guess. So there probably are other entomologists that like Pokemon. I don't know if there are other entomologists that like Pokemon and also watch my YouTube channel. But if there are, like, that's really cool. And if you have any, if you're like in the sciences and you have any like experimental questions or input, or you know how to ID wasps, if you know how to ID wasps, that's great. You'll be a massive help to the stream because not only will you be pushing science forward, but you'll also be helping me win my Nuzlocke. Okay, so let's just grab north right 1, shall we? I've got the images now. So we have all these traps. So this square here, which I'm highlighting, I'll highlight it in red. Oh yeah, they're all going to say Seraphronida in them because that's my filler thing. Okay, so this square here is Wasp 1 of north right, and here it is. And this is a lovely wasp. Look at this guy. So as we can see, it's got this constriction here. Oh, we're going to need our keys too, aren't we? That's okay. We'll see if we get down narrow enough for that. Okay, so let me zoom in. Here we go. Let me see what we've got. Now I still have the physical specimens, but I've only got one photo of each, and the photos may be of dubious quality. You can see the little mouth parts here, which is pretty cool, and the wings, and the metasoma mesosoma divide with the wasp waist, and I already think this is a diapriid, but we'll do our due diligence because we're just starting out, so we want to like go bit by bit, piece by piece. Oh, I'm zoomed out now. So we're going to take this photo and we're going to chuck it into the hymenoptera. There we go. Here we are in the hymenoptera, and crop it down so we have only the relevant pieces. Okay, so we're pretty sure it's a hymenoptera, but we've already got a Pokemon named hymenoptera, so we can't use it again. The other thing we have to do is put an image of the Pokemon that is associated with the name. Because if we have to like redo this, if we have to redo, if we lose, then I'll have to restart. We can, and we catch one of the same Pokemon again, it'll keep the name. So every time we get a Chikorita, we can call it Hymenoptera. We don't have to ID another Wasp. But we don't get to choose what Pokemon we get each route. So there will be a lot of Wasp ID required. And if we have like done every Pokemon in the game, we can reset and only use and have to do more ID to rename the Pokemon. Anyway, here's Chikorita. Chikorita represents the Hymenoptera, of which this is certainly a member. So what we want to do now is have a look at the possibilities. So within the Hymenoptera, there are two super orders, the Apocryta and the Symphyta. And this is a key for the Apocryta, which I'm going to put over there for now, because... Is that going to work? No, it's not going to... It's going to put that... Where am I going to put this? I guess I'll just make it real small and put it on the screen. Otherwise the UI of the stream is going to look gross. Boop, there we go. Okay, so this is a key to them that we can use if we want. Well, it's a flowchart that represents a key. Okay, so Hymenoptera, Apocryta, Symphyta. Cool. This is a diagram. Oh no, this is what we want. Okay, so here we. Can I also get a taxonomic bubble like this? I'll bring this up. Can I have this on screen? No. Well, we'll put this here. So, okay, we're looking at ants, but ants are cool. So, look, I've still got Pokemon moves in here. If you've been watching my Pokemon content, you'll notice some similarities between my slides, because I'm reusing them for both Science and Wasp. Why is this now decentered? Oh, it's because the answers. No? What? Why? Why do these pop out? Didn't give them permission to do that. Huh. Weird. Seems to have fixed it. Anyway, this is what it's going to look like. So we have the order Hymenoptera, and then we have suborders, infraorders, superfamilies, subfamilies, subfamilies, superfamilies, families, subfamilies, tribes, genera, and species. Any of these are valid names for Pokemon. So, it's good that there's no one watching, because I'm still figuring this out myself. It's not very smooth. So, here's our Wasp, and we're going to move it down. So we're going to look at this. So within the Hymenoptera, there are two superorders that we are interested in, the Apocryta and the Symphyta. And the way we tell them apart, as I mentioned earlier, is we see if it has this wasp waist constriction. So the Apocryta have the constricted waist, and they are the ants, the bees, the wasps, the parasitoids, everything that you mostly know. The Symphyta are the sawflies, and they are strange. But we don't have to worry about the Symphyta, because we can look at this thing's waist and see a very nice constricted wasp waist. So, this guy is most certainly a member of the Apocryta. Now what I want to do is for each slide, I want to try to have some notes on ID. So this one is ID constriction between mesosoma and metasoma, brackets, wasp waist. Cool. I'll try to fill these out later. Some of them will need, like, scientific... I got a view. Oh no, they viewed for 35 seconds. That's interesting. That's a bit stunning, actually. A whole view. So we have our wasp, and it's an Apocryta, which means we can come back to here and name this guy Apocryta. Sweet. And we can put oh 152 is Chikorita's name. Chikorita. And we can find our Zarua in this list of guys. He'll be down here somewhere. Where are you, Zarua? Where'd